What is up, everybody? We have a Super Bowl rematch. The Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots are headed back to the Super Bowl. Dalt, can you believe there are second graders out there that have never seen a Patriots Super Bowl? Isn't
Good.
that disgusting?
Love that for them.
That fan base has had to suffer for this long.
The fan base has never suffered, and I think we should.
I wouldn't say never. They suffered for everything.
We should
post
do
2000.
some. You know how the NBA has like the lottery for draft picks.
Yeah.
We should do a lottery for like. I don't know. Once like we should just do a thing first. Like you got to get nerfed at some point. You know what I mean?
You have to go through at least a decade.
I am not worried. I think Seattle is going to be the hardest team that this Patriots team has faced.
By a mile.
People are bragging about how the Patriots have first team ever to beat a number 2, number 3, number 5 defense.
Yeah.
Look at their offense. Let's talk about the offense of those teams real quick.
Yeah, I was.
Does the defense score points? Sometimes they do, but that is not the point of the defense. And the offenses that they have went against were terrible O-line and Justin Herbert.
Worst O-line in the NFL.
C.J. Stroud, who was throwing more
Dude,
picks
turned the ball
than
over
touchdowns.
5 times.
And Jared Stidham.
Yeah, that's the rough one. It's
so, they're there. They made it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
congrats. But
those were tough teams.
You didn't earn it. You didn't earn it.
Teams. I wouldn't say they didn't earn it. I would say they have earned it less than other teams.
Look at their schedule. Look at their schedule.
I'm saying less than other teams.
Look at their schedule last year. They faced harder opponents last year. And they're going to face harder opponents next year. They're going to get a harder schedule.
Oh yeah,
and I don't think they're going to do as well.
Oh, they will.
And I'll stand by that.
I don't think anybody outside of the New England area is picking the Patriots to win this game. This is I would say, unusual territory for Patriots fans, being the dog in the Super Bowl. I saw what was it? It was one team was plus 6,000, the other team was plus 8,000 to make the Super Bowl. Could you imagine a parlay if you pick both these teams to make the Super Bowl? It's the second most unlikely matchup in a North American Championship game all time. The number one was the Atlanta Braves and Minneapolis Twins in 1991, I believe. Pardon me. Other than that, it's the single most unlikely championship game, which pretty much sums up this season. Yeah. I mean, the season has been absolutely wild. If I'd have told you Drake May versus Sam Darnold in the Super Bowl, you'd have called me crazy. Everybody would have called me crazy. Like, I don't doubt it. Anybody would have been like, no way, 0% chance. And the Seahawks have earned it, man. Sam Darnold came out last week and played an amazing game. Drake May in the Patriots offense didn't really do a ton, but they did enough to win. They did 3 points, which was enough. Because wasn't the other one a defensive score?
Yeah.
The Patriots had a pick. Yeah. Or Broncos had a pick. No, Patriots had a pick 6. Yeah. And then they had the 3 points. So, hey, 3 points is enough to win. Then it's enough to win. I don't think 3 points is going to be enough to win in the Super Bowl, unfortunately. Drake May has not played very well statistically or EPA wise in the playoffs so far. It has been a rough go. He has 3 games for, well, I'll just tell you the average. He's putting up 177 yards a game and about 2-to-1 touchdown percentage, which is a good, but when you're combining that with 55% completion and 177 yards a game, you're looking for more out of your MVP runner-up quarterback, especially in the postseason. It's just not exactly what they were looking for. He's only completing about 14 passes a game on 25 attempts, so they're throwing it plenty. He's getting the opportunities. He's just not delivering, and it's crazy because he is, he was playing very well, but like you said, he's playing tougher defenses. He's absolutely playing tougher defenses, and that is showing. The problem is he's playing worse offenses. Justin Herbert is a great quarterback. You need an offensive line to be able to do things. and he didn't have one. Pardon me, got a cough going. It should be noted that he had the 32nd pass and 31st run O-line this season, Justin Herbert did. And these Patriots pass rushers have a lot of pressures in the playoffs so far. And unfortunately, that is because they have faced the Chargers and the Texans offensive lines. And the Texans pass blocking O-line is not much better than the Chargers. Their run blocking is certainly better, but their pass blocking is not much better. And these Patriots have feasted on that. And they did a good job against Denver too. But Denver had a quarterback who, man, I don't even know how to like I don't want to talk bad about Jared Stidham because he did the best he could, but he had 6 days to go into an AFC championship game. That's not. There's a reason Nick Foles is so crazy of a story because that just doesn't happen. You don't get put in that situation and then do well. Yeah, I don't know, man. And so now that you do face a Seahawks O-line that has a banged up left tackle, but the whole rest of the line is healthy. Probably the best run graded offensive line in the league. They're the best running offense in the league that doesn't have a mobile quarterback.
They are down Charbonnet.
Yeah, they are down Charbonnet, but I mean, Kenneth Walker looked great these past 2 games as the bell cow.
True. I feel like they're the most well-rounded team.
Yeah, and usually it's weird because we get one well-rounded team and then like one star player, right? Like we get a Patrick Mahomes versus the Rams. We get Patrick Mahomes versus the Eagles and the Niners and all those teams where it was a fully well-rounded team versus a star player, like one player making a difference. And this time it's like one player making it, or not one player making a team. It's a whole unit. The Seahawks, a very well-rounded team, very great all the way around, versus a team that most people view have kind of got lucky and kind of skated by. And congratulations, you made the Super Bowl. I view this Patriots team a lot like I view like the Bengals team that played the Rams in the Super Bowl, where they're just not going to be back here all that often, whether it be injury or other reason. I just don't. I can't remember what the statistic is, but they showed a statistic during that Super Bowl about sophomore quarterbacks that make it to the Super Bowl that if you lose, they don't make it back. And I think it's like 11 quarterbacks, and I think Jalen Hurts last year broke the trend. But before that, they were 0-11 on making it back to the Super Bowl. So I don't think it's impossible. If Drake May loses, he'll make it back. But history says if you don't make it back, then you're not making it back.
How about the fact that the Eagles have not been able to hire an OC yet?
Oh, that's so great, dude. That's
Hilarious.
So great.
Love that for me.
I love that for you. Yeah, dude. We can talk head coaching news real quick. I don't think there's been any.
Shout out Joe Brady.
Shout out Joe Brady. I didn't love that move. I love it for him, obviously.
I never thought they should have fired Sean McDermott. I didn't think that the Ravens should have fired John Harbaugh.
Well, yeah, but it's for me the Minter move from Harbaugh. This move, I mean, it's like taking out your half-drank Dr. Pepper. Like you have a Dr. Pepper in the fridge that's 1 day old and it's half-drank, and then putting a brand new Mr. Pibb in instead.
Yeah, Dr. Thunder.
Yeah, you threw that away and put a Dr. Thunder in there. Like, what? Why didn't you just keep the Dr. Pepper was? I know it was like a day old, but it was probably still.
Yeah, but it had a screw-on lid. It was still carbonated.
It was still just as good as that Dr.
There was
Thunder
only yeah.
Like it's not going to be better. I tell you that much.
We'll see. Hindsight's always 20/20, so we'll see what happens with these guys in the coming year. I personally don't think it's going to look very good. The only move I think was decent was Mike McCarthy to the Steelers. I feel like that was
that's
pretty
a crazy move.
Lateral move, if you ask me. They're kind of 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other.
You traded out the Dr. Pepper for a brand new can of Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
Not another bottle, but a brand new can of Dr. Pepper.
I like Mike McCarthy. and locker rooms really seem to like him. I would have been okay if we would have kept him another year,
Yeah.
versus, or signed him to a new contract or whatever.
Yeah.
He went 12-5 his first 3 years, so he's very capable, and I don't blame the 7 and 10 year on him. There was a lot of injuries for that season, so if I'm a Steelers fan, I would be pretty happy. Now they just got to figure out if they're going to work with Aaron Rodgers or not.
Yeah, that's the thing that like everybody's like, well, they have a head coach that's really close with Rodgers. Like they're not close. That's the thing that like blows my mind about this is Rodgers got McCarthy fired because McCarthy wouldn't do what he wanted. So like they don't have this great working relationship and like this
and Aaron
outstanding
doesn't have that kind of pull in Pittsburgh.
Exactly. And like if you wanted a coach that like loved Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Rodgers loved him, there are reports of Rodgers bawling in the locker room that he let Mike Tomlin down, that he was so sorry for letting down Mike Tomlin and he felt so terrible. Like he obviously had a connection with him. Like why not just like it just doesn't feel like that's the way they're going. I think they're going this route to develop a quarterback because wherever McCarthy has gone, he has taken quarterbacks and developed them and made them better. And that's what I think they want is they have Will Howard on the team. And Will Howard is a 6'5" big dude, very mobile, very talented thrower of the football that's very raw. And I think they're hoping that after a year of sitting behind Rodgers and, maybe a year with a stopgap quarterback that McCarthy could turn him into something that he's currently not. So, but it is funny, the McCarthy thing. One, because they changed out Mike Tomlin, a 19-year head coach with like a career over 500 record and a Super Bowl, for Mike McCarthy, a 19-year head coach with, a plus 500 record and a Super Bowl. Just lots of similarities there. But McCarthy now completes the trifecta of teams from his lone Super Bowl win. He was coaching the Green Bay Packers in AT&T Stadium against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So he now completes that trifecta and has now worked for 3 of the most storied franchises in NFL history, and we can see if he can have success. I don't know.
Yeah. So that leaves the Cards, the Browns, and the Raiders without a head coach.
The Raiders had the DC for the Rams in yesterday. I don't know how that ended up.
Shula.
I know that he was in for a while, and people were putting out live hostage alerts like, hey, so you might want to check on this. But the Cardinals and the Raiders are the 2 more good of those jobs. The Raiders probably being the number 1 because you have Genty and you have all the offensive weapons
and you have the number 1 pick. So
and then you have the number 1 pick plus tons of draft capital after that.
Yeah.
So
I think it's going to be a good year for the Raiders next year. I hope. I mean, that division just looks insane, especially with Eric Bieniemy coming back. I mean, congrats, Chiefs fans. You got your offense back. You got Steve Spagnuolo. Yeah. I mean, this is what you want out of a team. Somebody who has a great head coach and 2 coordinators right below them. You keep those coordinators. Whatever you do, don't let them go. And if they go, bring them back.
Yep.
That's how you make a great team, is you keep
continuity.
Your employees, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, continuity is very important, and the Bieniemy is a tough coach, but I feel like Andy Reid kind of needs a tough coach in the building because Andy Reid's there's stories of him getting stern, and he's a coach, he can do what he needs to do, but on a day-to-day basis, I mean, I remember hearing stories about the Chiefs like every Thursday is just do whatever you want for practice and then tell me what plays you like and we'll try to work those into the scheme. Like,
well, that was last year. That was last year. That was last
2 years ago.
It was either last year or 2 years ago, but I mean, it was working for him.
Yeah, but he's just a very laxed coach, and Bieniemy's a very hard ass. Hey, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do this better, you're gonna be this better. You're gonna hold the ball here instead of here because here is more secure, and it doesn't. He's that kind of guy, and it helps to have that voice in the building. And It'll be good for the Chiefs. They weren't a bad team this year. They had some stifling miscues in areas where we don't normally see that. We'll see. We'll see when it comes to them. But back to the Raiders, I think they're the best overall spot left for a coach. I really thought Mike McDaniels might go there. Good for him. He gets into LA. The Chargers are gonna be, if they can stay healthy, dude, the Chargers are gonna be fucking mess.
I don't think Mike McDaniel should be a head coach right now. I think maybe in like 10 years
Dude, I
after
love that guy.
some grizzling and some real like wisdom
Just
and
some
experience.
grizzling.
But he's just too young. He's just too like. I think he's great as an OC. I think he's a great OC. I just
Yeah,
don't
for
think
sure.
he is a leader of men. You know what I mean? When you get up behind a podium and you make these press conferences,
Yeah, no, he's
you need
not
to
the
have something to
traditional kinda
say,
guy.
and you need to be sure of what you're gonna say. Not
Yeah.
well, he, I, this,
Yeah.
and it's like, bro, what are you saying? What are you even?
He's
saying
trying to
right
do
now?
the Belichick thing where you don't say anything, but
Yeah, but he's flopping.
but it comes off much more immature because of how he does it. Belichick
Well-
would go up there and be fucking rude, whereas McDaniel goes up there and tries to be like
Exactly, because he would say things very like, they would ask a question and he'd be like, well, blah 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 blah. He wouldn't go, you know what I mean? Like,
Well,
he had
but
a response. He
Belichick
had
would go-
something to say.
I mean, sometimes he would just go up there and they'd be like, what'd you feel about this? And then he'd be like, you watch the game.
Yeah,
I'm on to
But
I'm on to next week.
but it worked.
Like-
It worked for him because he was stoic about it.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Not,
saying.
you know, little
He was
high
direct
school.
and rude and punctual about it, whereas McDaniels is like, well, when I was standing on the sideline and I saw Tua's face glistening with sweat, I really just kind of felt like that was the right play call.
Yeah.
Like he makes up a snob like a
I do not like-
sarcastic answer. You know what I mean? He just
don't
it's
like
funny to
watching
me,
his press
but like I
conferences.
understand what you're saying completely.
Yeah.
I think it'll be really good for him to work under Harbaugh. It'll teach him a little bit about defense too, and to see how a defense should be run. And I really think that offense there, if they can get the offensive line fixed, is going to be crazy good.
G&T, Brock Bowers, Fernando Mendoza next year, Max Crosby on the back end.
Dude, I hope Crosby
that is-
stays.
I hope so too. I hope they keep him. But I'd understand if I were him. You're going through, what is it? It'll be your fourth head coach
Yeah,
in just as many years. They had Josh McDaniel, and he just fucked the whole franchise up. And then they had AP, and then everyone was like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's run with AP. And then they have like a up from the year before, but still a down year. And so they're
Yeah.
like, just get rid of him. And then they're like, Pete Carroll's going to do it. And now they get rid of Pete Carroll.
yeah. I
So
don't
it's like,
get what
maybe
that's
you
about.
shoulda
Like,
maybe you should have just kept Antonio Pierce. I like
I don't
that
get what
guy. Now you don't
like-
even have him in the building.
like
He was a
I-
Raider. He had that Raiders mentality,
yeah.
and now he's not even there.
I love Pete, and I don't know what I don't know what Mark Davis is doing firing Pete Carroll if you're bringing him in. Pete Carroll was never going to be a 1-year flip around and win the Super Bowl coach for you. Like, even in Seattle, it took him 3 years to get to it. Like, you have to let him build a team.
Yeah.
And, like, I know the Patriots are about to go from 4-13s to a Super Bowl, but we've talked about all the things that had to go right for that to happen for them. They had Christian Gonzalez as a shutdown corner already. They had Stephon Diggs come in, who's an established receiver. They've had a couple other receivers boom out of nowhere. They have 2 really good running backs, one of which they drafted, but was a high draft pick for a running back.
And
then
their schedule really helped.
and then the schedule, and then they've stayed healthy, and there's so many things that had to happen right. You can't tell me this Raiders team thought, yeah, we're going to bring Geno Smith in here. We're going to take the 30th ranked defense. They're going to perform at a top 5 level. And then we're going to take Geno Smith and this catastrophe of an offensive line, and we're going to go win a Super Bowl this year. Like, that to me felt so rushed, and it kind of is a red mark against the Raiders, in my opinion, against ownership. And this includes Brady in this, that they would let that happen. And maybe the plan was, hey, we're not going to win it this year. Let's bring Pete in, see if we can learn anything from him. We bring
They
him
signed
in.
him to a 3-year deal.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm just trying to like come up with anything in my head for why they would do this, because otherwise you keep him and you let him,
Run
might
it back.
Mike Zimmer had a great quote in 2017 when he had the number 1 ranked defense in the NFL. And they said, you feel like you finally made it, you're doing so good. And he was like, straight up honesty, I just kind of started figuring out how to truly be a good head coach this year. Like every year I've learned something, and this is the first season where I feel like I'm a good head coach. I know what I'm doing every single week, week in, week out. I show up to the building, I know what I'm doing. And I'm not saying Pete Carroll doesn't know how to do that because he's a head coach for a long time, but it's a new building, it's new players, it's new relationships. You need time for all those things to implement and for there to be a turnaround with the mentality. And most of the time, 99% of the time, that doesn't happen in 1 year. I don't care who the coach is. I don't care if Vince Lombardi sits up out of his grave. It just doesn't happen that way. These are men who are well and grown and playing football for millions of dollars and have giant egos. They're not just going to come in and just throw their ego aside because some dude's name. It doesn't happen very often. But that's my rant on that. I think they're the best head coaching spot. Cardinals up next. Other than the quarterback position for the Cardinals, the defense improved slightly. They spent good money. They drafted. They have some potential to be, a top 20, top 15 unit next year. And then the offense has weapons. They need a running back, maybe. Go get Jeremiah Love in the draft, and you have a dangerous offense, depending on who you bring back as quarterback. And so that position, you're kind of in, in the middle ground, and it's kind of But other than that, I like the Arizona position. I think that's a turnaround position. Like, you can turn that franchise around. You have some things. I don't know what their cap situation looks like, actually. Let me before I say that, and they're $80 million in cap hell, for 2026, they are Arizona. Yeah, they have $35 million to spend as of right now. So that's 12th in the league. The Chargers have $88 million to spend, which is huge because that's going to help them get that offensive line fixed. Dude, the Seahawks. Oh my God. The Seahawks are in the Super Bowl with maybe the best team in the NFL, and they have $76 million to spend next year. Bro, this Hawks team is going to be good for a while.
Yeah.
For a while.
I think so. Sucks for Tyler Lockett.
Can I say a little something about the Hawks?
Sure.
And how I am so happy for them. I've gotten a lot of people hitting me up like, how do you feel about the Sam Darnold leading the Seahawks to the Super Bowl? Does it irk you that the Vikings picked JJ McCarthy over Sam Darnold? And for one, no, and I'll explain why in a minute. Two, I love the Hawks. I'm very clearly a Minnesota Vikings fan. I live in Seattle. Most of my family is Hawks fans. I root for the Hawks when they're not playing the Vikings. I've been to Hawks games when they're not playing the Vikings to root for them. It's awesome. Love the Hawks. For the most part, Seattle fans are pretty cool. That being said, I feel no disdain towards my organization for letting Sam Darnold walk for two reasons. One, they did not let him walk away. They offered him the same money Seattle was offering, and he chose to go to Seattle. So that's the first thing, is he chose to go to Seattle, and for good reason. Look at him now. And secondly, I don't believe that if you just take Sam Darnold and place him where JJ McCarthy was this season, that we're in the Super Bowl. I don't believe that our team is as good as their team for good reason. And I don't think we have the secondary play that they had. I think the pass rushers for us are better, but their D-line as a whole was playing 1,000 times. Their defensive interior is 10 times better than ours. I love Jalen Redmond, but we got one dude in there with a bunch of just a guys, and they've got two monsters up front. And so I think this Hawks team is just a better overall team, and we didn't use Sam the way they're using Sam. We use Sam as a commander-in-chief of the offense. You're going to throw it 40 times a game, and you're going to be a gunslinging quarterback every single week. And it didn't work. That's not what Sam is there to do. And that was the thing I told most Seattle fans is, hey, if you're expecting him to be Josh Allen every week, temper your expectations. But if you give him a good team, he'll keep the train on the tracks the whole time. And that's what he's done. And I love it for him. I think that the Seahawks are going to roll in the Super Bowl. A little spoiler. I'm picking the Seahawks in the Super Bowl. For me, it just doesn't, I don't feel irked because Sam is in the Super Bowl. He chose to go to Seattle. He had a contract offer from both teams for roughly the same amount of money. And the reason I'm not salty about it is that, and I believe in 2 or 3 years, I say 2 years, in a year from now to 2 years from now, like from this day, we will be thinking of JJ McCarthy as a better overall quarterback than we think Sam Darnold is. So now I could still be totally wrong on that, but I saw flashes from that guy this season that I didn't see from Sam in an entire season where he put up 4,300 yards and 38 touchdowns. So I saw throws like there's the throw. Hold on, hear me out. There's the throw Matthew Stafford made against the Bears in overtime that everybody was freaking out about. The cross, in the out route to Devontae Adams on the sideline.
Yeah.
JJ McCarthy made that exact, I posted about it on Twitter, that exact same throw week 1 against the Bears on the same field from the exact, 10-yard setback. So the kid has flashes, and I believe, you see what Sam Darnold became after working with Shanahan and O'Connell for a couple years. I'm not willing to give up on the potential of JJ McCarthy just because he didn't meet expectations of what they wanted him to be out the gate, right? Like Sam Darnold's a perfect example. He was in New York, he was in Carolina, he was in San Francisco, and then he was on 4 different teams before he became what he is now, and that's the quarterback with the most wins in the NFL over the past 2 seasons. And McCarthy just turned 23 last week.
Mm-hmm.
So he's very young. He's I believe in him a lot, and I've seen the flashes. And most importantly, I truly believe that if McCarthy stays healthy this season, the Vikings make the playoffs. They were half a game out of the playoffs, and you can argue any analytics you want, any stats you want. There were five games, I believe, that Carson Wentz played in, and I promise you, JJ McCarthy would have played better in at least 4 out of those 5. He couldn't have played worse. And a couple of those were 1 point or 1 score losses. So I think we win the Pittsburgh game overseas. I think that Carson Wentz played worse than CJ Stroud. Carson Wentz had a worse quarterback rating than CJ Stroud did in that playoff game. That's how bad Carson Wentz played. So the Chargers game, I think we get rolled still. That defense was like the Vikings defense, and I just looked defeated. We were coming off a loss on a short week against the Chargers in LA, and Carson Wentz was playing hurt already. It just looked bad. We just didn't have a chance. It was the Jalen Hurts we gave up a perfect passer rating to Jalen Hurts. The one game Jalen Hurts just decided to become the best passer alive. It's fucking crazy. Mm-hmm. But I think we win at least one of those games, which puts us ahead of the Packers and in the playoffs. So if wishes were fishes, the world would be an ocean. Those are just the reasons I'm not super salty about Sam Darnold being in the Super Bowl. I'm happy for Sam. I love Sam Darnold. I love that he gets to be in a Super Bowl. I hope he wins the Super Bowl. I want to make that as clear as possible. I want him to win the Super Bowl. In fact, I'm probably going to try to monetarily gain off of that. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But yeah, I don't see, to bring this back around to the Super Bowl, pardon me, Seahawks, Patriots, let's just run, can I just run through the position groups real quick?
Sure.
So offensive line, I'm taking the Seahawks. Quarterback, I think that's a wash. In a long-term thing, I'm taking Drake May. In a short-term one game, I may take Sam Darnold.
This one game, yes, I'm taking.
I may take Sam Darnold. So it's kind of a wash. Wide receivers, Seahawks, no question. Running backs, I'd probably go Patriots. I like Ramondre and Henderson versus just Kenneth Walker. Yeah. So I'd probably go Patriots, but Kenneth Walker is an absolute beast. Pardon me. Defensive line, Seahawks, no question. their defensive front, I believe, is the best in the NFL right now. The Patriots are up there. They're a really good defensive front, and they actually may be deeper than the Seahawks are. But the Seahawks, their ceiling is they're just up here. It's a 95 versus a 90, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pardon me. Linebackers. I'd probably go Patriots. I like their linebacking core.
Bob Spillane's insane. He's a monster.
Yeah, so I like the Patriots linebacking core. Secondary, I'm going back to the Hawks.
They've always had a good secondary.
Their rookie, Imanwari, I wasn't a huge fan of his coming out in the draft. I was very vocal about it. I didn't think it was a very good pick. They are using him excellently. My issues with him were that he gets lost in man coverage, and he can sit in his zone, but he gets too aggressive. He jumps routes. He's really a true box safety. He wants to be up playing a linebacker style role, and that's how they're using him. They're letting him be that box safety, and they're not making him do anything else, which is awesome. And I think he'll have lots of success doing that. Very similar to a Jamal Adams, who everybody thought, oh, he's this all-pro, amazing weapon. Seahawks gave up a ton of picks for him, but he was just a box safety. So, like, when you put him out and made him do other things, he didn't really do all that well. And then, obviously, the cornerback for both teams are pretty even. And I think the Seahawks have the edge in the safety room. That's why I give them the secondary, because the cornerbacks are so even. I would even wager to say that I can go push on it because the Patriots have a better 3 cornerback situation than the Hawks do, but the Hawks have a better safety situation than the Patriots do. So I would even go wash there. But even still, it's O-line, wide receivers, D-line, all for the Seahawks. Then you have 2 for the Patriots, and the rest are wash, if not Seattle. So it's a little bit advantage Seattle with 65-35 Seattle is what I would say. And if you go position by position on paper, and then you look at how they're playing, and that jumps to 85-15 Seattle. And so I don't see a world in which the Seahawks team doesn't win the Super Bowl. But I would have said that about the 15-1 Carolina Panthers. I would have said that about the 2007 New England Patriots. I would have said that about a lot of teams. I'm trying to think of another team recently where I was like, oh no, there's a good team and there's a bad team in the Super Bowl. We've been kind of blessed recently with
last year sucked.
Well, I mean, as far as even matchup goes, like before the game, going into the game, we thought, okay, Patrick Mahomes in this defense against this Philadelphia run game, and it wasn't that. But I mean, I'm just trying to think. Let's see. The Carolina-Denver one was the last one where I was like, oh, Carolina's going to destroy Denver. And then it was the complete opposite. The Patriots-Falcons one, Eagles-Patriots, Rams-Bengals, Chiefs. Any Chiefs Super Bowl was pretty close. I never felt like the Chiefs were going to go in there and dominate a team.
Yeah.
Just because of the way they play. Yeah. Pardon me. I don't think there's a more lopsided Super Bowl in my memory that I'm preparing for. I say that, and it'll be a 28-31 game with the Patriots missing a field goal to win or to tie the game to go into overtime. But I just think Seahawks fans are pumped about the Super Bowl because it's the Marshawn on the 1 yard line, not running the ball, or Marshawn on the 2 yard line, not running the ball revenge game for them, right? And this Seahawks team dubbed themselves the Dark Side, right? They have their nickname and they're rolling off that. And I think it was either Leonard Williams or DeMarcus Lawrence was wearing a LOB Ties t-shirt before the game. And because they get compared to the Legion of Boom so much, those defenses, because they're so good. And it was I think they carry that chip on their shoulder still. They carry that Marshawn on the 2 should have run it, could have had 2 Super Bowls in Seattle on their shoulder, and now they get the team that it happened against. I think they're going to have a chip on their shoulder that the Vrabel-led Patriots just would never have. They wouldn't have a chip. They would have all right, we're going to come in, the Belichick in, do our job. Everybody does their job right. We'll get it done. We'll win the Super. Like, They're coming in very neutral, very not too high, not too low. And this Seahawks team comes in on a high every week. I've been expecting that to be their downfall. Like they're playing on such a emotional high all the time, and I've really expected that to be their downfall. And this Seahawks team is ungodly good on the road, not in their stadium. I think they're gonna they've given up, I believe, in their 9-game win streak. I believe it was 64 points they've given up to the LA Rams. They've given up 67 points to the other 7 teams they faced. So most of the points they gave up in the past 9 games are to the Rams, and that's it. So now, granted, they got a couple easy games, and they got the Max Brosmer game in there and some real stinkers. Brock Purdy in his first game back, the 17-3 or whatever it was. So who knows? I don't know. I'm gonna ride with the Seahawks as of this week. I may feel differently next week, but we'll see.
I will not.
Yeah, I don't think I will either.
Fuck the Patriots.
Patriots are 13th in the league in cap going into next season. They have $34 million. Seahawks are $76 million into the green. I don't know if that. Yeah, like they have some guys they're spending some money on, but not many. They have let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys with over $10 million, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those are under 20, between 10 and 20. So they only have 3 dudes making over $20 million, and one of them Sam Darnold. So you can still pay Jack. Now you're gonna have to pay Jackson Smith-Njigba probably after this season, especially if you win the Super Bowl. I
thought he was a rookie.
JSN?
Or
no, this is his 3rd year.
Oh.
Yeah, this is his 3rd year.
Damn.
So you're thinking of Emeka Egbuka. From the Bucks.
No, I was thinking of JSN. I just don't remember really hearing about him the past couple of years, I guess.
The first year he was in the NFL, he was good. Not great. He was good. The second year he had more targets than DK, but DK was the number 1 receiver. And then this year he got to go be the number 1 receiver. So that's why. So you have to pay him. Kenneth Walker's a free agent, so you'll probably have to pay him. So between those two right there, if Kenneth Walker wins the Super Bowl as the bell cow, I mean, you're going to have to pay him $15 million. You're going to have to pay JSN $40 million. So there's $65 million of your $76 million in cap space right there. So it is a lot. And JSN's already making $4 million. So it's $60 million of your $76 million. But, and then you're going to want to go get a new left tackle or bring back somebody who's healthy. Byron Murphy's going to be due not this year, but next year for a big contract. Devin Witherspoon's only making $10 million. Let's see what if this is it. Yeah, this is the club has a 5th-year option after this year. Let's see here. We're kind of counting chickens before they hatch here, in my opinion, but that's okay. I like it. It's fun. Yeah, both JSN and Devin Witherspoon are coming up. The team will have to pick up their 5th-year options, or have picked up their 5th-year options, I think. Yeah, JSN's in his 4th season. I apologize, not his 3rd. His 4th season will be 2026. So they have to pick it up after this year, going into his 4th season before his 5th. So, and that's the same for Devin Witherspoon, their best cornerback. So they're going to have some guys to pay. So they have some room right now, but they're going to have some people they got to pay. They're very fast. Nwosu, he's already making $20 million. Yeah, just comparing this, not to rub salt in the wound here, Dalt. Apologies. Let's go back to the NFL's page here. I would like to see the cap tracker. So for 2026, let's go Chicago, another playoff team compared to the Seahawks. Chicago has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 dudes alone making between 10 and 20. And they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dudes making over $20 million. And they are going to be negative $9 million into the cap, which isn't a big deal. You can make that happen. There's going to be free agents. You can make that work pretty easily. But just another NFC team that's spending a lot more to build a similar style of team. It's just going to be a lot harder for them to get back on track, where the Seahawks team is going to be able to re-sign some of their guys and then draft and have the same team for the next couple of years. They'll have this team for 3 to 4 more years, which is crazy. I also, if you're Sam Darnold, let's see. So Sam Darnold, he'll be due $36 million this next year. If you win the Super Bowl, are you content with making $36 million? You know, like,
Yeah, I mean,
when you
I
can
don't know,
make
man.
60, are you taking 50% of the money other dudes are making when you just led the team to the Super Bowl? The team went from 10 wins, added you, and made the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but I mean that's not that much of a change. I don't know, man. Like they just signed him. They just signed
Yeah,
him.
I know. I'm not saying he will. I'm saying, do you restructure and say, I want at least 50?
No, man. I mean, maybe if you're Sam Darnold, but it's like if you're the Seahawks, we signed you last year. We signed you last year. When we signed you last year, what was the goal? To get to the Super Bowl. You did that. Congratulations. It was in your contract. There you go. Like
Yeah.
that you should, as a quarterback, you should be negotiating. I am going to take you to the Super Bowl. So if he's going, well, we got to the Super Bowl, it's like, were you not expecting to? Like, that's what we should be working towards, personally.
So then I want to know. That's it. This. So, but then tell me this: when they come to the table, okay, Sam Darnold's agent, right, goes to Sam and says, "Hey, I'm gonna get you paid more." And Sam goes, "Okay," and he goes, "I'm gonna get you paid more. Don't worry about it," because that's what agents do. They don't always go to the player and sit down and do everything, because the agent just wants more money, right? The agent wants a commission check, so the agent's gonna go get more money for their client. And I sit down at the table across from you and I go, all right, my client is making $36 million this year. Kyler Murray, Tua Tagovailoa, Dak Prescott, Baker Mayfield are all making over $50 million this year. My client did more than any of those quarterbacks did for their team. He needs to be making at least as much as they are, if not more. How do you argue? You can't argue that. You can't be like, well, we signed you last year with the intent to win a Super Bowl, and we did that, so cool your jets. Like, he'll come back and be like,
I think you can. What's Sam Darnold gonna do? Leave?
hold out, sit, and then you're really shit on a stick.
No, because I don't know. It just depends on what kind of guy Sam Darnold is. Because is he a guy that wants to make the most money, or is he a guy that wants to win? Because if you want to win, then you don't.
Well, if you've already won, this is the downfall of teams, is they've already won now. Now it becomes the time of, now I want to make the money because I've already won. That's you know what I mean? That's the difference between Brady and everybody else. Brady was a guy who wasn't getting paid a lot, won the Super Bowl, and realized, wow, if I don't take more money, I can just have awesome teams around me and I'll win all the time. And that's how it just doesn't ever make sense to me. And no offense to Dak, or I had it with Kirk too, right? Like, those guys don't make sense to me, why they can stand up at a podium and go, my focus is to win the Super Bowl, and then say, yeah, but I wanted to make $60 million this year too. Like, it's a proven fact. You can't do both. You just can't. It never has happened. It never will. And so it's very hypocritical for me for those guys to sit up in front of a podium and be like, yeah, no, I'm committed to winning a Super Bowl and leading this team to the Super Bowl, blah, 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 blah. When in reality, it's not going to happen when you're making that much money. Like, don't get me wrong. That much money's awesome. I'm not saying I would turn it down, but I'm also not saying I would do anything for a Super Bowl. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, excuse me. I think Sam Darnold is a top 3 highest paid Super Bowl quarterback of all time. He's one of the highest paid quarterbacks to play in the Super Bowl ever, and he's making $36 million. This year alone, there are 14 other quarterbacks making at least that much, if not more. So to get in the top 10, you have to be making $50 million. To be in the top 5, you have to be making $70 million. Like, it baffles me that teams are doing this. Like,
We'll see what happens next year.
Dude, Deshaun Watson is, oh my God, dude. Deshaun Watson is the number 1 paid quarterback in the league next season. Guess how much he's scheduled to make?
Like $80 million.
$80,716,514.
And they don't have a head coach. And they're probably going to move on from him. I will be surprised if Deshaun Watson plays another down.
Oh, he won't. No way. No chance is he playing in the NFL. And the best part is this is his last year. They just have to get through this year with him. But oh my God. This is really bad, dude. The Browns, so he's on the hook for $80 million this year, right? Next year, they're still paying him $25 million to not even be on the team.
I mean, that's not that big of a deal. I mean, the Broncos are doing that with Russell Wilson, and look where they.
No, they already did it. They did it. They're done. They did it in one chunk.
That's what I mean,
they did it in 1 year. This is spread out over. Let's see. Deshaun hasn't played for them since 2022.
Yeah. Well, he played a couple of games this year, I think.
Did he? No, did he?
Yeah, he either played a little bit this year or last year. But he got injured again.
Here, let's see.
I think it was last year.
Last year.
Yeah, and then he got injured.
He was injured in 2022, 2023,
signed
2024.
Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett and.
Yeah, so Deshaun Watson in Houston, leaving Houston, wildest turnaround in professional sports. He was averaging 300 passing yards a game, 2 touchdowns, and under half an interception. 300 yards, 2 tuds, and a 0.4 picks per game. That is insane. On a season that is 70% passing for almost 5,000 passing yards, 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. The next time he played, his stats, 58% completion percentage, down almost 13%, 1,100 passing yards in 6 games, which is down over 120 yards a game, 7 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions in 6 games compared to 7 in 16 games. And he's been on that trajectory. He's played 6, 6, and 7 games in the season. Like those are his 2022, 23, and 24. He's gotten hurt every year, and every year it's 1,107 and 5, 1,107 and 4, 1,105 and 3. Like he's just a bad quarterback now. We
will never see him play again.
Between the years he's spent having the people, like being put out on a stage like that and having your home fans. I said it when it happened. When he came out in Cleveland and those home fans were calling him a rapist and all those things, like that buries your mental fortitude. Like you don't come back from that. Like But all right. I don't have anything else to add to this week's show. We're gonna go full in-depth Super Bowl matchup next week with everybody on the show. You got anything you want to add before we hop off here?
2 things. Cowboys hired Christian Parker as their defensive coordinator. We'll see how that goes. He has jumped around a lot since 2013. He's pretty much been somewhere new just about every year. But he has been mainly in the NFL the past couple of years, so we'll see how that goes. Brian Schottenheimer was basically a nobody. He was only Marty Schottenheimer's son last year, and I think he did phenomenal.
Yeah, he did a great job
as a head coach, so we'll see how that goes. And then second thing, not football related, just wanted to take a second to say, prayers up for all what's going on in Minneapolis right now. Stay inside, and make sure you exercise all your rights, and don't let any of these bad MFers get you down.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody really appreciates that. Yeah, no. Peace. We'll see you in the next one.
Peace out.
That was really